Thank you. Realistically, that is the essence of this video. There will be a lot more to it. I want to talk about the future of the channel. I want to talk about my plans for the channel. I want to address some common themes in the comments that I've been reading. But I want to say first and foremost, thank you to each and every one of you who subscribes, who likes, who watches the videos, who's got me to the milestone of 5,000 subscribers. It doesn't go unappreciated. I make the videos on this channel, but it's you guys that like and subscribe and do all that great YouTubery stuff that build the community. It is you that is responding to each other in the comments, supporting everyone through their addictions and on their path to recovery. So thank you to everyone who has managed to build this community to a size that is well and truly beyond anything I could have ever hoped would happen when I started this channel. I remember in the early days making videos and sort of seeing my subscriber count go from 14 to 15, or maybe back down to 13, and then wondering what I'd said and being concerned that I'd made the wrong video or said the wrong thing. And every subscriber was incredibly significant to me then, as it still is today. Every single person who joins this community is someone who has been in this position, wants to help support people in the position of addiction, or help people through their addictions and into recovery. So not a single subscriber goes unappreciated and unacknowledged, and so thank you to each and every one of you. Like I say, I do want to address a few things in this video, just talk about what I want to do with the channel, address a few sort of common complaints or at least constructive criticism that I've received, which is perfectly valid, but I just want to address that as well. Like I say, and talk about what I want to do going forward to further, expand the channel and to reach more and more milestones in terms of channel size. Now, it would be completely remiss of me to say that there is not a certain element of ego stroking that comes with metrics such as subscribers and view counts and all that sort of thing, all right? So to say I've reached 5,000 subscribers feels to me like a decent personal accomplishment, but like I say, I am nothing. I'm just a bloke rambling on about his addiction and recovery. It is you guys that follow the channel and support it, that actually build the community. So thank you, not just from me, but from everyone on this channel is continuing to help, and it really is appreciated. It would be not an only feel video unless I say hope you're keeping safe, hope you're keeping sane. Everyone who supports this channel in whatever capacity that might be, you are appreciated. Anyone who wants to support me and help free up more of my time to make more videos, expand what I'm doing, expand the setup and all the rest of it, there will be a link to my Patreon in the description below. Okay, if nothing else, as I've said before, that to me feels like the virtual equivalent of someone going, oh, Phil, I like your advice, actually I find your videos useful, let me get you a pint. I feel it's like the virtual equivalent of that. But beyond that, like I say, it helps expand the setup, and it will help me to get involved and do more of the things I want to do going forward, and that's what I want to talk about later on in this video. Firstly, do just want to address a criticism I've had a couple of times recently, which is perfectly valid, but I do want to explain my reasons behind it. A couple of videos I've made recently have been covered topics and have spoken about things that I have previously spoken about. Someone commented and said that I sound a bit like a broken record or something like that, and sort of said, why don't you give a new perspective on this particular issue? Multiple reasons. Okay, now firstly, it may be that I've made a video about something in the past and forgotten that I've made that video. And I've been thinking, something's come up and I thought, yeah, I'll make a video on that, that might be useful. And I've continued to make a video, not realising that a year, 2 years ago, I probably did the same thing. The other reason, and actually going off the back of the reason for this video, is because the subscriber count's growing. Because more and more people are joining this community, more and more people are watching the videos, and I don't expect that people joining and subscribing to the channel will necessarily trawl through all my old videos in order to find some of the advice that I may have given a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. So if I think something's useful, if I have a strong desire to talk about something because I think it might be helpful to people struggling with addiction, I'll make the video even if it does go back over old ground. So that kind of covers that. However, I do appreciate the constructive criticism, and I do think it's time that I start to do different types of video. All right, now I want to keep addiction, I want to keep mental health, I want to keep depression, recovery, self-improvement at the heart of everything I do on this channel, all right? I appreciate that whilst 5,000 is a huge amount of people, in the grand scheme of YouTube, it's not. And the quickest way for me to grow a massive channel would be to start talking about YouTube drama or current affairs and all that sort of thing. I've actually started doing it on a second channel. If you've been with me a while, you'll remember the Just Feel channel, which is probably still floating about in the ether somewhere. where I sort of did daily rant videos about current affairs and current topics and things like that. It grew a lot quicker than this channel. Never got to a massive size because I stopped doing it. It was a lot easier to make the videos. It didn't take so much out of me emotionally to make those videos, but something had to give because I simply didn't have the time to maintain both channels. And this will always be my priority, because this isn't just about building a YouTube channel. This, to me, is an incredibly personal journey of recovery, but also helping other people and getting those waves and waves of messages telling me that I am helping other people. And that's what spurs me on to continue to grow the Only Phil channel, even though sort of in terms of time and commercial viability, it's not really up there. But like I say, it's very personal to me, and just hearing from people, seeing people join, and hearing the positive feedback from you guys that it's helping you in your recoveries or helping you with your addictions. That to me is all the motivation. Like I say, obviously it would be brilliant if I got to a point where I could make this channel slightly more commercially viable. I never think it's going to be a full-time thing for me. I don't think it's got that much scope, but if I could make it so it could replace one of my other income streams, jobs, side hustles, whatever, and I could commit more and more time to it, then it would enable me maybe to grow in the directions that I really think this channel has the potential to do. But in the gambling terms, one day at a time. I will continue to do this, and I will continue to try and better it, make it more engaging, get more people on board, talk about the real key issues, and just continue to help as many people as possible. So what do I want in the future? Where do I want this channel to go? Now, recently I released a reaction video, not really my normal type of video, not something I was particularly au fait at putting together, but it seemed to come out okay. Had some really good feedback from it. And so I will continue to do that. I will continue to maybe search the internet for content which I think is going to be helpful to you guys, maybe if you're suffering from addiction or depression or mental health issues, and I will then add my own slant to it, add my own opinion. I will only do that if I believe I have something else to add. I will not just be regurgitating other people's content, but I want to, if I find something helpful, then I think you guys might find it helpful. In fact, I've got a plan for a video straight after this one, so that may even go up today as well. I want to do that more. What I also want to do, which is something I've spoken about so many times on YouTube, and there will be things I want to do outside of YouTube as well, but on YouTube is I want to get in front of other people. I want to have more conversations, and that would be with gamblers, gambling addicts, people in recovery. I want to get to a position where I can talk to people who are experts in the field of addiction or depression or mental health. I want to get to the point maybe where I can speak to people within the industry, people that have worked for or are currently working for bookies or gambling firms, maybe some streamers, anything like that. Anyone who I think it would be interesting to speak to get a different perspective on gambling, on addiction, and on recovery. I have a mental and physical list as long as my arm of people that I really, really would like to get into conversation with in, dare I use the P word, a podcasty kind of a format. All right. Now, there's tons of the people on that list that I appreciate at the moment. Whilst 5,000 subscribers to me is absolutely mind-blowing, that some of the names on that list won't give a second look to a channel with 5,000 subscribers, regardless of how relevant the topic is to the channel, because they're people of a high status or people who just simply wouldn't get out of bed for that sort of exposure. But in time, hopefully, starting with whoever will volunteer to come and have a talk with me about gambling and about addiction and about mental health, I can grow and I can grow and I can grow, and I can get some of the guests, dare I say, on that will be, I believe, of real benefit to my audience. So I want to do that. I want to expand the type of videos that I make. I particularly like the idea actually of sort of talking to people who are in the midst of addiction, people who maybe don't believe they have an addiction and are just gambling in a recreational basis, get their opinions, and that might be a good way to start this sort of conversational format of video. I will need to work on a setup for that, which will require additional cameras, maybe an additional microphone, maybe somewhere better to do it. And obviously that's going to require time to set up. It's also going to require finance, and that's another reason to plug my Patreon in the link in the description below. Outside of YouTube, I want to do more interpersonal things. I don't know whether that be speaking at existing meetings, whether that be GA or anything like that, or any sort of groups that maybe I could put a talk together and present to people. I don't know. If you've got any ideas around that sort of thing, then please do drop a comment or actually DM me over on Patreon, because I'm much more likely to get the opportunity to read that. I want to get in front, as I've spoken so many times, and have really not managed to make any significant inroads in front of younger people, and speak candidly about gambling, speak honestly about gambling, not the standard, going into schools lecturing people about how this is bad and that's bad and you should never do all of this sort of stuff. Actually speaking matter-of-factly, honestly and openly, and in a way that maybe they haven't been exposed to before. And maybe I could even branch that out into other forms of addiction, self-help, and mental health awareness, and really, like I say, get in front of young people and help them to recognise the potential red flags, and maybe recognise when they are developing a problem before it allows to manifest and cause significant damage to their lives and to their futures. And that's really something I feel incredibly strongly about. So that's something I want to do. Now the channel is at a decent size and there's enough of you. I appreciate not everyone here is, subscribers in the UK. In fact, it's great to see that so many of you from all around the world follow and support the channel. But it would be good if I could arrange some sort of, personal meetup, not like a seminar or anything Tony Robbins style, but just, a get together somewhere where we can all, just chat casually, but also about our recoveries, our addictions, and all the rest of it. I think that would be fantastic to put together. Again, if that's something that might be of interest to you, do let me know, in the comments or whatever. Maybe I'll put a poll up at some point. I don't know yet. All right, but rest assured, to those people who are saying that my content has become samey, I do appreciate that. I do understand that, and the reason for that is, like I say, technological limitations. The fact that sometimes I forget what I've spoken about before, but also just because I think with the channel growing at a reasonable rate, there'll be a lot of people coming on board who won't have had the time to go back through my old videos and may benefit from something that I've spoken about in the past, and I want to address it again. While I'm talking about addressing things, a lot of people may have noticed that when you comment on one of my videos, sometimes you'll get a short reply, sometimes you get a fairly substantial reply, sometimes you get no reply at all, but maybe a comment 3 or 4 up or down from yours has got a response. All right, let me say this, I try and read all your comments, and there will be times when I have a little bit of time to myself, aside from my job, my business, this, family, trying to fit in some form of social life and hobbies and all the rest of it. Right, there will be times where I get a snippet of spare time, and what I'll generally do is go onto the comments and I think, right, I want to reply to a load of people. Just because if you've taken the time to comment, I like to think that I've got the time to respond, but I don't always. And I'll start from the top and I'll just work back chronologically until I run out of time and something else drags me away and I don't get the opportunity. So if you put a comment on there, unless it's a real dickish comment and you're just calling me an idiot, or one of those people who says, oh, you only need to, one big win and you'll sort your life out and all this stuff, which I'm sure is just trolling. But if you have just left a perfectly decent comment, even if it's just thank you for the video, I'll still try and respond. If you've shared your experience, thank you very, very much for doing so, and if I haven't responded, my apologies, but I will work through them chronologically until I run out of time. So please don't think that I've ignored your comment, please don't think I haven't read it, please don't think that I'm replying to some people but not to you. It's nothing personal, it's purely a time factor thing. And again, like I say, and I'm not just saying this to promote my Patreon and get people to support the channel, but the bigger the channel grows, the more chance it has of having some element of commercial viability, which means I can then spend more and more time on it. Not just making more videos, not just replying to more comments, but expanding in the ways that I've just spoken about, getting in front of people physically, and also having more in-depth conversations, maybe longer format conversations. And I don't like the word podcast. I think podcasts have been blown out of all proportion, and I don't like to use the P word, but it would probably take on that sort of format. But like I say, I'd need to upgrade the setup, and I'd need to get the time, the space, and maybe like a new location and all the rest of it to do that. So anyway, you can support me towards going that direction. That's great. If you have any links, contacts to people who you think would be really beneficial, or if you have any ideas of people that you think would be beneficial to, getting on the channel, then let me know. Again, I don't know whether you can DM me through Patreon without being a member. I'd still happily hear from you even if you haven't signed up. I don't know whether you can do that. I'm not totally sure how it works, to be honest. But yeah, maybe comment or whatever if you've got any ideas, or if there's any other forms of videos you'd like to see. I mean, again, I like the idea of going out maybe on the on the street, so to speak, and speaking to gamblers in sort of gambling locations or outside gambling locations or wherever I can actually film and discuss with them. I'm not sure that won't get me some abuse at some point, but I think again it might be beneficial, not just to you guys watching, because you might sort of see an element of you in people who are still undertaking gambling, but also maybe hopefully potentially to them as well. Like I say, helping each other, which is the crux of this video, it will always remain at the epicenter of this channel. But for you guys to keep engaging, for myself to keep this enjoyable and keep wanting to push on and doing more and more things and reaching more and more people, I think diversification of the content that I'm making will become quite key to that and to the future growth of the Onlyfeel channel. And like I say, there will be I'm sure, when I can think of a way of doing it without being detrimental to other people, there will continue to be a more commercial element to it. And I don't really make any secret of that. For full disclosure, just about on the commercial side, just because it might be of interest to you guys, particularly anyone who has commented to sort of question why, question my motives. I have worked out that from the start of this channel 6 or 7 years ago, on average, between YouTube revenue, Patreon, and the rest of it, I've earned about £7 a video. And if you think probably even like a basic video, probably like this, where I've just set the camera recording and all the rest of it, probably going to take me at least an hour or so to sort out and upload and all the rest of it. So anyone who can accuse me of doing this from at the wrong place, I think is a little misguided. I never expected the channel to even be monetizable. Then obviously when it was, then I decided I would do that, and I don't feel any shame on that. But that was just addressing that as well. But like I say, if it does become more commercially viable, then I can sort of knock other things on the head, free up a bit more time, spend more time doing this, building it, making it better, and hopefully helping more and more people. That's the plan. But I've rambled. All I want to say is, once again, thank you to each and every one of you who watches the videos, subscribes, likes, comments, engages with each other. Signs a Patreon, whatever. Like I say, just subscribe to the channel, just watch the videos. And if you do watch the videos regularly and you're not subscribed, I would ask you just click that subscribe button, because that really does actually help. It lifts my videos up in the rankings, which means more people watch them, and hopefully more people get something from them. They're not going to be for everyone. I'm not going to be for everyone. Oh, one last thing. I am 40 years old. Right now, I've had this question a few times, but I have mentioned my age. Now, I'm mentioning this for two reasons. Firstly, yes, I am 40. Yeah, tough paper round and all of that, right? But in a real honest sense, yeah, I think the fact that I look old beyond my years is possibly carrying the weight of quite a severe addiction for such a long period of time. The stress and strain, sleepless nights, the psychological burden of carrying such an addiction is going to take its toll. So if that's not a warning to you, then I don't know what it is. But yes, to those questioning my age, I am 40 years old. In my defence, I don't really need a defence, but if I need a defence, I have always looked older than I am, which was brilliant when I was 15 and wanted to get in the pub. But obviously, it does have its downsides as you get older. But that's the truth of the matter, right? So anyway, I'll leave it there. Stay safe, stay sane. Thank you once again to each and every single one of you. Really, really appreciate all your support. Appreciate your feedback on everything I've said in this video. If you've got any ideas, let me know. Like I say, I really want to keep this interesting for you guys. I really want to expand. I really want to talk to more people. And I will figure out a way of making that happen. All right. But just thanks for your continued support. And here's to onwards and upwards to 10,000. All the best.